Welcome to Journey to Ironman Florida, episode 12. I just finished the 12th week of my race build for Ironman Florida, coming up in just 12 days on November the 5th in Panama City Beach. And now it is time to shift my mindset toward tapering for my first Ironman. It's been a long process for me. I'm really excited to reach this milestone. These last 12 weeks has been the hardest thing that I've ever done. It's been a real grind. I've been training pretty much twice a day for multiple hours every day over these last 3 months, and I am happy to put it behind me. I feel great. I am in the best shape of my life. The things I've been able to do recently in training sessions kind of amaze even myself at this point. So I'm excited to see what I'm going to be able to do. When race day comes, I'll be able to hopefully shed some of the fatigue that I might have, do some workouts to stay sharp over these next 12 days, and then really attack this race, which I'm super excited about. And, this 12-week period, this race build, that Journey to Ironman Florida really has been an in-depth look at what I've done over these 12 weeks. This is only one facet of my preparation for this race. I train with a periodized approach. So, you can really trace back to the end of 2021 when I really set my sights on doing Ironman Florida, competing in this race, and I have built myself into an athlete capable of competing in this race over these last 12 months or even longer. Last year, following my triathlon season that ended with the Ironman 70.3 in Atlantic City, and then I ran a few half marathons after that, a couple half marathons. There was a lot of stuff that I wanted to work on coming into this year, taking on the challenge of a full distance Ironman. My biggest concern was my left shoulder. I was in a bike crash last year. I injured my shoulder a few weeks before the Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City. So my swimming really took a hit from that. I wasn't able to train my swim in the 4 weeks leading up to that race. And then following that, it was pretty clear that my shoulder needed some rest and rehabilitation. So, I wanted to make sure that I'd be able to hold up to the swimming volume that I knew that I would have to do to get ready for this race. So, I started working on my swim, really short sessions, trying to build up strength in that. I did a bodybuilding style of training, trying to add some muscle mass. Because the one thing I felt about my body during Ironman 70.3 Atlantic City was I felt like it broke down before my mind and spirit did. And I knew going into a full-length Ironman, I wanted to be more robust. And that meant trying to add some muscle mass, trying to do some exercises that, help to stabilize my shoulder joint and get it ready for all the swimming that I'd have to do. And I did a lot of stuff over the off-season phase, in December, January, and early February, stuff like, sled push and pull, sandbag carries, the rowing machine, tire flipping. I wasn't doing a lot of swim, bike, and run then. I was only doing one or two sessions per week. I was doing 2 short swims, 1 bike, 1 run, just to, keep it going a little bit. So when I got into training, I wouldn't be totally, unfamiliar with it. But, it really wasn't about that. It was about rebuilding my body and getting myself into the sort of shape where I could take on this year of training that I knew that I was going to do. I began training really for this season, which, this season for me really was all about Ironman Florida. I began training for it formally back on February the 14th. I did a 10-week, what I would call postseason phase, and a 14-week preseason phase, where I would do 2 sessions per week of swim, bike, and run. I added an extra bike session, in the middle of that too, just to get ready for the bike leg of this race. But the sort of work I was doing then was a lot different than the sort of work that you see me doing now in this later stages of my race build, right? My bike sessions back then were much shorter, but they were more difficult in a lot of ways than my bike sessions are now. They were brutal with just long, high torque intervals, right? Low cadence, just trying to build up leg strength and tissue resiliency in my legs because I knew I would need to build that up during the spring and the summer months to get to the point where I am now, where I'm able to, ride 112 miles at a relatively comfortable pace. My runs back then, they were lots of hilly trail runs, or when I got down to Florida, hilly runs on the treadmill, just running hills over and over again, 90 minutes, 110 minutes on the treadmill. It was, demanding and just brutal mentally to get through that stuff. Lots of slow zone 2 runs, running at slow pace in the heat and humidity. It was frustrating, and really demoralizing at times, but I knew that was the kind of training that I needed to do to get myself into the sort of shape that I needed to be in order to take on this 12-week race build where I averaged over 15 hours of training per week over these 12 weeks. I've trained every day but one over these last 12 weeks. Some of those days were easy recovery sessions, but, I've put in some work, either bike, run, or swim every one of those days over the last 12 weeks. Most of those days have been multiple sessions, multiple hours of training, and I only did that because of the work that I did building up to it, both this year and over these past 3 years, right? So this is the final piece of a long progression to get me ready to take on the challenge of a 140.6 mile Ironman. And now I've done all the work that I can do, and I can't add any more fitness. So I'm going to keep training over these next, week and a half or so. I'm going to keep training, obviously, but it's about staying sharp, and it's about arriving on race day, feeling my best, feeling full of energy, ready to take on the challenge. It doesn't matter how many hours or miles I put in during my training block. They don't give you a medal for that. What matters is how I show up on race day and how I perform on race day. So now my focus really, I'm going to cut some of these workouts short probably. I'm going to take it easy if I need to. I want to make sure that come 2 weekends from now, I am going to be at my absolute peak for the race. Recently, I've also been tackling a lot of the logistics involved with the Ironman. Equipment upgrades. You see the bottle cage on the back of my bike. I put another pouch on there. I got a wetsuit. I tried that out for the first time last week, right? Ideally, I probably should have done these things a few weeks ago, so I had a little bit more time to acclimate to it, but I think I'll be okay with it all. I just need to figure out how to get on and off my bike now with the 2 water bottles on the back. I've had to deal with a lot of that stuff. Obviously, there's a travel component involved, and I got to make sure while I'm traveling before the race that my nutrition is where it needs to be. So, a lot of these logistical things have to be planned as well, and that's what makes, tackling a race like this to be such a daunting challenge, and it's, really so all-encompassing, and it's really taken up all of my time and energy over these past few months. I'm grateful for the experience and the opportunity to do this and challenge myself in this way. But I am also ready to take this race on, hopefully get across the finish line, and then move on with my life and, start to divert my time and energy elsewhere, because it really has been the most demanding thing that I've ever done. So week 12 was another big week of training for me. I reached over 15 hours again. I pretty much hit about 15 hours or more 8 of these last 12 weeks. I think I was over 11 every one of the last 12 weeks. So it has been a lot. But I feel great, and as this training period has progressed, my training has begun to replicate race conditions more and more, and that means that it's a little bit more fun now than it was at the earlier stages of my building up to this point. I'm getting to run with a little bit more speed and a little bit more intensity. Last week, I started out on Monday, as I usually do, easy recovery session on the bike after a big weekend of training the week before. Tuesday, I had a demanding swim. I did it at the outdoor pool under the sunshine, which was nice. I hit 5,000 yards. The end of the set was a 3,000-yard straight set, which was over an hour of swimming, and then a minute rest, 9 by 100 yards with the paddles at very strong effort with just 10 seconds of rest. So that was a challenging swim. Really got the best out of me. I did 3,900, difficult yards of swimming there, getting me ready to do 42:24 on race day. And then Tuesday afternoon, I did a 9.8 mile run outside in the heat, another zone 2 run. I worked a bit on my run walk protocol for race day and on fueling. Generally, that run went really well. I'm going to be happy that I'm not going to have to do these late afternoon runs in the heat anymore, which is going to be great. Wednesday was a hardy brick session. I did an hour and a half on the indoor bike trainer with some challenging intervals, and then I ran off the bike. That run was the best run of my life. It's been the first time that I've really been able to run in what I would say are optimal running conditions, where it hasn't been super hot or even warm and humid. It was 65 degrees, it was overcast, it was windy, it even started raining, and I felt absolutely incredible on that run. I far surpassed even my highest expectations at my fitness level and my ability to run at pace. During a workout when I was really carrying some fatigue based on all the running I'd been doing and the bike before that, I was smashing my own expectations on this run. I ended up doing 5.3 miles at 8:07 pace, and that's the fastest that I've run in a long time, and that felt really good, and that made me feel really optimistic for race day on what should hopefully be a cool evening without the sun, Panama City Beach to wrap up the Ironman Florida on the run. I think I'm going to feel pretty good after training all summer in the heat and humidity. Thursday, I did a double training session down by the beach. I was at Hollywood Beach. The first thing I did was a swim. I tried out my new wetsuit. That felt great. I did 2,500 yards out there in the ocean. Wasn't really the most intense swim in my life, but it felt good to get out in the wetsuit and hopefully get another swim or two of practice with the wetsuit in, so I'll be ready for race day. I spent some time to recover, I refueled, and then I did an 8.2 mile run, again featuring some intensity, 30 minutes in zone 2, 20 minutes in zone 3, 15 minutes in high zone 3, and then 10 minutes in zone 4. So at the end of that run, I was really pushing the pace a bit. I felt really strong on a nice warm day by the beach in the mid-afternoon. It was a solid run. I felt really good about how that went. Friday, I did a recovery-oriented bike session, about 46 minutes, and then I got in a good strength training workout on Friday afternoon. My strength training has fallen off a little bit over this race build. That's okay. I've still gotten in at least one quality session every week, and I've done plenty of mobility work, a lot of stretching, stuff like that. I do that multiple times per week, so I feel pretty good about that. Saturday, I woke up early. I did a 4,450-yard swim. That went better than my other recent swims that I've done early in the morning. I found it really challenging to wake up, at 5 a.m. and hit the pool at 6 a.m. and do a long swim. My energy levels haven't been great. I haven't performed optimally. I fueled a little bit differently for this one. I used a quantum energy block, which is offered on course at the Ironman race. So I've been trying to get familiar with all the products that Ironman offers at the aid stations in the event that I need to take some of that stuff. Been drinking a lot of Gatorade Endurance, using the Moritin gels. So, I fueled with that, and I felt better than I had during recent swims. Came home, refueled, relaxed for a little bit, and then at 11:30 I went out for a run. I ran 11 and a half miles. I did 2 30-minute intervals above race pace. So I was able to hold about 8:45 pace without too much strain on another warm, sunny day here. So I feel like in more optimal conditions, my pace would have been significantly faster, at the effort level I was putting out. And then Sunday, hour and 50 minutes on the indoor bike trainer. I opted not to ride outside just because kind of the ease of it. I wanted to get a solid night's sleep. I didn't want to wake up too early. So did a good session on the trainer. Had a smoothie afterwards, relaxed for a bit, and then I went to the pool, and I did 5,400 yards, which was the longest swim of my life. A lot of work at race effort or above, so I started to really feel pretty good about that swim, covering that much distance. I don't think that the distance on race day, the 2.4 miles, will offer me too much of a difficulty. I'm not going to be the fastest swimmer, but I think I'll be able to get through that without expending too much energy. So I'm looking forward to it, looking forward to seeing what I got. And another week coming up here. I'm going to take it a little bit easier, start to ease my foot off the gas pedal, and getting ready for race day, tying up all the final loose ends. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. If you could hit the like and subscribe button, that would mean the world to me. And again, I appreciate everybody and all their support as I build the Ironman Florida coming up. Only 12 days now.